So, Player First Games was not kidding around with how massive this mid-season patch is going to be. It's basically the real full launch of Multiversus, and in my humble opinion, from everything I've heard thus far, it's a strong step in the right direction. Hey everybody, my name's Young Falcon, and let me take you through the recent Multiversus mid-season patch talk that was hosted live on their Discord as of today, July 1st, 2024. So, let's kick things off with some quality of life and setting adjustments players are going to have access to on this patch. Free-for-all mode will be added soon, featuring a much better camera and a classic rule set of first to 4 KOs gets the win. The Court 1 is being moved from the 2s pool into a free-for-all map pool, and in its place is going to be a daytime version of the Court titled the Court 2, which has already been featured in the Rift labeled Surf's Up, so it's basically a non-hazard version of the Court. Speaking of Rifts, the Rifts got a new instant restart level button, making it so hunting down any of your missed missions is a lot faster. As for the personal player experience, Player First Game definitely listened to our complaints. Finally, we have customizable input buffer timing, which means hopefully the laggy aspects of gameplay can be toned down quite a bit. Player First Games also has customizable controller dead zones incoming, which should fix a lot of the game's right stick or C stick related input errors. Lastly, on the play experience train, we have endgame stats making its appearance, making it so I can finally pinpoint and see how many kills I got off the top, how many spakes I had, if I got assists during a 2s match, etc. Now, you guys know the channel. I'm not here to harp on the devs for how long it took for these features to come back. What matters is the devs listened and executed on their plan, and that's exactly what I was asking and pushing for in my 2 previous Multiversus videos. So I applaud them for working quickly to get these changes pushed through. Also, yes, I didn't forget, spectator mode is finally back. We can finally truly run tournaments, or you can host lobbies where you and your whole Discord can pull up and get some sets. There's a couple smaller quality of life changes in here, like how color outlines are toggleable again, and there's a setting for mapping neutral dodge and parries to a singular button. Sure, those are fine, but I'm still waiting for the ability to swap my neutral and side attack buttons. It's still really hard adjusting from beta. In my head as a former Smash player, Harley's side air looks a lot like 2 Falcons near to me, and yeah, it's just weird to adjust to that. Now for the big one, the character changes. They didn't go in depth with every character in the game, as the patch notes will be published on their blog soon. They did, however, give us a bit of insight into who's getting some major changes to their core moveset. So let's kick things off and see who's getting some major adjustments. Bugs Bunny is getting nerfed quite a bit. The safe heat drops will be much easier to break as its hit points were lowered, and its nair loops will not allow to be chained as effortlessly as they were in the past. He still gets good reward off of one drag down nair, but bro won't be looping you off stage or into a missile like he had set up previously. Gizmo was already nerfed a bit in previous patches, so his only minor change that I heard was making the car not as oppressive in both 1s and 2s, as the car had way too much health and it made breaking it quite a nightmare for most players. Player First Game is moving to make the car health lower so it's easier to destroy. Last patch, Harley Quinn got hit with a pretty fair nerf to her grounded down attack that previously gave her easy access to loops and combos. Ever since that nerf, getting stuff started with Harley has been a bit more annoying and frustrating for the average player, but I thought the change was overall good and made it so you utilize her full toolkit in the best way possible. On that point, both Stripe and Harley Quinn can no longer indefinitely hold items, something that I truly thought was a random bug in gameplay, and actually I was right, as it's getting addressed here. When Dynamite or Bat Bomb is pulled out, the item cooldown timer begins instantly, which is fantastic. Nothing was more annoying than accidentally pulling out Bat Bomb and getting flung off stage, and in your efforts to panic up B, your little Bat Bomb flies up and Harley plummets into the blast zone. Let alone trying to fight a Stripe who's holding onto that Dynamite, a ticking explosive like it's his personal riot shield. I'm glad those 2 pain points are being handled. As for Harley's gameplay, her classic up attack, presumably from beta or similar versions, is going to make its return, and it's going to be juggleable, meaning drag down Sarah into up air is probably going to be a true combo again, and that's really exciting for me, as it means Harley could finally go back to her vertical KO playstyle instead of me being forced into running off the stage with my hammer. This hopefully should also entice more Harley players to set up our Jack in the Box during points that aren't just downtime or in between stocks during a match. Jake was next on the patches, and they were a bit vague with what the buffs exactly are, but they did say they've nerfed his biting heavily. As a matter of fact, all stun-locked or hold-esque moves have been tweaked this patch, as players on the receiving end can more easily escape or mash out of these situations, which is a huge W in my book. Jake's first bite will be hard to get out of for sure, but any continuous ones will gradually get easier and easier for the player to mash out of, which also goes for anyone else with stun-like moves. On that note, Player First Game said Jake is going to function more as an aerial bruiser in the upcoming patches, so I'm excited to check him out and see all what the changes entail. Jason was also pretty vague, but they they basically said all of his hitboxes and moves will hit more consistently and hit a little bit harder, which is a big W because if you know anything about Jason, those hitboxes are basically non-existent a majority of the time, and he was one of my more favorite characters to play, so bringing that consistency back to his kit, yeah, it's a W in my book. Oh boy, Shaggy's getting hit with a huge nerf. His damage numbers have been reduced across the board, and many of his combo conversions are going to be easier to escape from. Honestly, fair play. Shaggy is the Shoto of Multiversus, and he was definitely really strong. Anytime I queued to finish a generic set of quests, and I didn't feel like sweating, I just booted up Shaggy and went to town. I think the changes shouldn't be too bad, and the core of what makes him a great starting character is kind of already inherently built into his kit, so time will tell how crazy this patch will shake up Shaggy. Steven is also on the nerfing block. Mainly, there will be some changes to his passive and bubble-like abilities. It will also be much easier to punish Steven's aerial approaches, making it so he can be punished a lot more consistently when that homie flails and makes mistakes. Oh boy, this was a long time coming. Joker has basically been the kingpin of Multiversus since launch, and was definitely a problem character. Player First Games has made heavy changes to his jab, and his grounded dodge distance has been heavily reduced. That and his wildcard perk has been tweaked quite a bit, and there's going to be more changes that are going to be detailed in the blog post, but for now, these all sound like promising starts in the right direction. To rapid fire round things up, Iron Giant is basically getting reworked as his Nair no longer hits multiple times, which allowed people to get carried into the blast zone. Now he's just going to hit twice with this Nair, and it functions more as a KO option than a combo conversion tool. There's some other foreshadowed changes we'll see more on in the blog post. Velma and Reindog were also hinted at having pretty massive buffs incoming, and lastly, Wonder Woman has pretty much been reworked into more of a true tank role and less of an all-arounder archetype. Her cooldown on down special has been increased by 5 seconds, making it so the armor for free option isn't as accessible for her to get to, and it sounded like armor on some of her moves have been tweaked health point wise. All of this is really promising stuff for Wonder Woman, and these are overall good changes for the character. That pretty much does it for this mid-season glimpse, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The game's moving in a really healthy direction from everything I've heard and seen. This Discord meeting they held is exactly why I delayed my third video on Multiversus Saga, 1 because it's mainly gameplay oriented, and 2 because I really wanted to give the devs the benefit of the doubt that they would deliver on their promises, and so far it's shaping up to be true. Time will tell with this official patch notes if all these changes will pan out in the long run, and I'll be sure to cover any of the changes that interest me in the upcoming mega video that I'm doing on Multiversus, but for now I'm confident in saying the game's future is looking quite bright. Sorry for the lack of upload last week. I've been hard at work on both a Multiversus video and my tag fighting game project. If you guys enjoy this type of historical, retrospective fighting game content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below as it go a long way in supporting the channel, and make sure you guys stay locked to the Twitch streams where I'm live every weekend. Alright, you guys take care. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.